So I'm really excited to have a chat with Steph again today. After I think it's about 8 months since I spoke to her last. I have spoken to her in person as she's been going through the training, but we haven't done a general chit chat like this to catch up after she's done the training and see where everything's at. So let's get started. Welcome, Steph. It's so great to have you back. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you again now and see what you've been up to since you finished the last course. If I asked you now, sort of looking back, how does it feel to have come full circle from student to now professional clinical hypnotherapist?
It almost feels like time has just flown. Like it's just so surreal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it almost seems like um, it was quite a while ago. And so
yep,
much has, happened in between but it's been quite the journey. So absolutely quite the journey.
awesome. All right. How do you think your confidence has changed since completing all three levels now? Because last time I spoke to you, you'd only done our first level. So you learnt all the basics of how to hypnotize. How do you think your confidence has changed now that you've learnt the whole skill set of it?
It's shifted quite um, considerably. So in the beginning, yeah, my confidence was probably one of the hindrance that I carried throughout the initial start of the course and the training. However, there was a lot of transitions and that took place in the course and the training, even personally, and as well as learning a lot more in the course. So I've got to say that with that transition and that shifts and the shifts that have happened, my confidence has definitely grown.
Yep.
Um, and that foundation is a lot more stronger.
Perfect. All
Yeah.
right. Um, Looking back at the diploma courses that you did, so level two and level three,
Mm.
what do you think was one of your biggest mindset shifts during those courses?
I had to do a fair bit of my own personal shifts in the midst of the course, as you recall. So I think that played a big part in one aspect. The other, I would say, is we did so much of the practical work, which I think really helped in delivering it to an actual human being with real issues. And so I think that took quite a shift from the beginning and then dealing with the diploma and then the advanced. So yeah, it had its own levels of shifts that I had to adjust, I think,
Yep.
um, and adapt at any given point. So yeah.
Yeah. Because I guess the first course you sort of came into it a bit blind.
Yeah.
Yep. Not
Yeah.
sort of really realizing, I suppose, the massive personal transformation that you were going to get.
Yeah. And
Yep.
even in the advanced, I started that thinking, yeah, I got this. Like my confidence was really like more at the forefront. And then it did a bit of a trick where it kind of captured me. And that was more of a personal thing where I needed to do some more of my own development within that course, which the course itself presented that um, situation, I think. Um, and so that took a little bit of a different turn, but that again is even if it's a challenge, it was more of a growth. It was an opportunity to grow even more and be open even more and learn more. So that experience just takes you to a different level altogether.
Yeah. Perfect. And I think, would you agree that sort of as you go through those different levels of learning, different levels of training, because each level, I suppose, is teaching you an advanced set of skill sets, would you agree that the brain sort of struggles to accept that you're moving into something new? It's almost like if we talk about the stage hypnosis, for example,
Mm.
do you feel like your brain sort of went, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do that?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's not a familiar space to be in.
Yep.
If we were to take the stage hypnotherapy as an example, and I'm normally the type of person that sits in the back corner, not up on stage. So that was an experience for me as well. But it was great to see, though, um, just to be challenged in that space as well.
Yep.
That was an interesting thing to see, and to have your peers around you as well. Um, everyone was kind of like in that similar sort of space of, oh my God, this is confronting. And but we all were in that same level of experience, with the similar sort of like mindset of being nervous and can we do this? Are we capable? But once we honed into what we had to do in the process in itself, because we were quite aware of the process we had to take. So once we honed in, I think, in the process, then it kind of all fell into place quite easily.
Yep. Okay. So for those that sort of, I suppose, don't know what you did within that stage hypnosis side, we've actually got a video here on our YouTube video if you want to go and find it, where Steph is hypnotizing a fellow student to do something under hypnosis that she wouldn't normally do. So talk to everybody, Steph, about what you actually made that other student be able to do.
Yeah, so I asked them to be on the red carpet in front of photographers on a movie set, sort of, finishing of a movie set. And it was quite funny. They took that role brilliantly. Um, yeah, so that was also interesting. It was a new experience for me. I had never done that sort of thing before, and I questioned it myself, like, will this work? Well. But yeah, it worked out really good. It was quite fun.
Yeah, and I think my marketing team shared with me before Christmas, I think it was, that we'd had over 20,000 views on that video so far on our YouTube channel.
Oh, incredible.
Amazing. So people
Yeah,
are
that is
loving
incredible.
watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, you did a
Unbelievable.
phenomenal job considering you'd only learnt that, what, the day prior or maybe
Yeah.
even that day.
Yeah. I know. Bizarre. Bizarre what, can allow the mind to do if you're open to it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. And that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Being open definitely allows you to have that scope to develop, to challenge, to explore, um, and to learn. Absolutely, just to learn and take it all in.
Yep. Okay. So did you ever doubt yourself as a hypnotherapist while you were going through that training?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I had my bouts of where I did challenge myself with my self-doubt.
yep,
Absolutely. I went through the stages and that fluctuated here and there. And I think that's because each issue that we were training on was an actual real issue, with a real person. It wasn't a make-believe scenario. We're dealing with actual issues, and
yeah,
you kind of put that pressure on yourself that you want to get it right. You don't want to fail that person. You want the best, to do the best for them. And are you doing the best for it? And all that comes into your mind at that time. So yeah, I had a lot of, am I doing this right? Am I good enough? All of those thoughts had popped in at some point or another. Yeah.
yep. And I mean, that's all completely normal. So, how did you find you pushed through all of those thoughts?
Uh, well, as you know, you helped me along the way in when I did have those bouts of self-doubt. But also pushing through those moments to really face it head on and really accept that, yeah, this is a bit of a thing that I need to overcome. But I'm going to really just focus on all the training that I've been given and trust it. And I'm really going to just go for it. So those stages, a bit of like a trial and error sort of stage, but um, I started to trust a little bit more on the process and where I was at. And I tried to change the narrative in my head as well. So
Yep.
the narrative that, had stuck in my head was, am I good enough sort of thing? Am I doing this right? So yeah, shifting the narrative was very, very important to continue in moving forward for me.
Yeah, perfect. And I suppose that's the key that probably a lot of people don't understand when you go through our hypnotherapy training is it's not role playing, is it?
No, it isn't at all. It's not make believe. It's the scenarios and the issues are actual real issues that we all can experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you guys volunteer in a class setting to be, I suppose you'd say, not my test student, what would I say? My demonstration student for, let's say, a particular skill set that I'm demonstrating at the time, then I'm going through a real proper clinical session with you, aren't I?
You are absolutely,
And
absolutely. And you've got to deal with that with a lot of care and consideration for that person. Absolutely.
yeah, okay. Um, so as you moved through the levels, you already knew how to do Reiki, so you already knew how to do a version of energy healing, but we taught you how to do the ancient way of doing hypnosis, which is called mesmerism and magnetism. How do you think learning that skill sets now sort of set you apart from other clinical hypnotherapists?
Very different learning that I've ever come across. Um, but it's just an additional skill that I was able to attain learning that. Absolutely. So I was very intrigued. And the focus just became a little bit more in tune, I think, applying that sort of technique and an alternative technique as well. So for me, it was just an additional skill just to add on.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And what sort of results have you seen using that nonverbal hypnosis with people?
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to see it to believe it, sort of thing, don't you?
Yep.
You could have a lot of skeptics around you about it, but I would say, you can be a skeptic, but you can also have a bit of an open mind in trying something different. Um, but that transition in applying that sort of method, um, it was such a gentle approach. I found it a real gentle approach to help the other person. Sometimes you might feel a little bit overwhelmed or it could be a little bit confronting, but this was just so peaceful and gentle that I would absolutely consider and recommend in a session.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sort of moves us on to the next question that I wanted to ask you was, how do you handle skeptical clients? So people who you approach or they approach you, and they're really skeptical about hypnosis because there's a lot of people out there like that. How do you
Yeah,
handle
there
that?
is. Absolutely, there is. It's an alternative method of, therapy or healing that, you can apply that's not many are educated upon. And so you have that skeptical view and perspective because it's not something that we try every day. Well, we don't grow up trying hypnosis
No.
methods. So, yeah. But for me, I challenge that. Let's give it a go. Like,
Yeah, love that.
bring that in. And I'm not here to deal with your skeptic views. We're here to deal with a real issue. So let's deal with the real issue and then let that all play out on its own. It'll all just show within its proof um, and within that session with that person.
Yeah,
I'll
perfect.
welcome it because it's something that you are educating the other person. And you're also giving them an additional tool where they can utilize later on if they ever need, like they feel that they need it.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. All right. So you've been out there working with clients for quite a few months now, pretty much since, is it about June last year?
Yeah,
Yeah. So we're
yeah.
coming up, what, about 9 months?
But that, yeah.
Yeah. without breaking any confidentiality with your clients, what sort of types of clients do you see most often? So I suppose, is it male? Is it female? Is it younger? Is it older? What are you finding that is your sort of type of clientele, I suppose?
I would say a little bit older.
Yep.
Um, and they are actually quite a mix of male and females that come through, which is really good to see for myself as I'm developing still. Um, but yeah, for myself at the moment, I have dealt with some younger teenagers, but majority of the clients that have come through have been of older.
Okay. And what are
Yeah.
you sort of finding are the main issues that they want to work on, or is it varied all over the place?
Very all over the joint. Yeah, very different for each person. Absolutely. There's not one that I can say, that sort of similarity has come through. They're actually quite unique in its own way, and because they have their own levels of whether it be trauma or whether it be historical issues that have just developed, they all have different levels of issues that you need to kind of unwrap and explore a little bit differently.
Yeah, okay. So for those people that are listening that sort of don't know, I suppose, too much about hypnotherapy, what are some sort of main things that you've helped clients work through so far?
So far, we've got your anxieties, anger management, weight loss, binge eating. Um, we've also got some where they're looking at controlling levels of drinking in alcohol. Um, yeah, feeling overwhelmed. Um, and also a bit of memory retention.
Yep.
In the younger group, younger teens. So that has come through as well.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so when clients approach you in whatever way that is, we don't really need to discuss that, but when they approach you, do they know exactly what it is that they want help with?
They majority do. What but we sit down and we still explore through a consultation what other levels of issues that would have contributed to where they're at the moment. So upon that consultation, we explore other levels that might need a bit more exploring and unwrapping. And then they do find that it becomes more than just one particular issue that they acknowledge and can identify throughout that consultation. So it's a worthwhile experience, I think. Obviously starting off with the consultation because you do understand the person a little bit more in depth. As vulnerable as they are, you need to try and tackle it with a lot of gentleness and tact sort of thing. So, um, yeah, some do have just the one issue that they are definite about, and that's fine. The others, I would say there's a lot more deeper things to explore.
Okay. And on average, sort of how many sessions would you work with someone for before they've pretty much got their results and they would only ever come back to you if they wanted to work on something different?
Yeah, so I'm noticing that between 4 to 6 at this point, the transition is quite evident. And then after that, they'll come back probably a few months down the track if they feel that they need a bit of a refresher in that. But yeah, between 4 and 6 for myself is what I've witnessed with the
Okay.
clients that have walked through. But even after sometimes a second session, they tend to really make a shift. And they can't really describe the shift themselves, but they notice that there's been a bit of a shift already. So, mm.
Yeah, of course. All right. And how does it feel like knowing that you're the one that's got the skill set that's helping them to get that shift?
It seems surreal.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying every bit of it and watching the transition that they make. And them also trusting me in their personal space, letting me in. It's a special kind of relationship that you create with that person. And, you know, they learn to trust you to let you in as you continue having these sessions. So it's a beautiful thing to watch, actually.
Yeah, awesome. And to be able to sort of now, I suppose, grow it's not really a career, it's more of a passion, purpose, that you can do something for other people that you really want to do. Like, how does that feel? Because most people, I suppose, watching this would potentially be stuck in jobs that maybe they enjoy, maybe they don't. And maybe they're listening to this going, oh, I'd love to move into doing something that I would really just love to do.
Absolutely, go for it. Look, the way I see things is that you only live once,
Yep.
you know, and grasp at that opportunity of, you know, that you need to make a shift in something, whether it be a change of jobs or interest or hobby or something, introduce something different in your life. And for me, from my own personal experience, this was a complete different shift from where I was at a couple of years back. But for me, it was a no-brainer. It was just clear light. I could see at the end of the tunnel, that's where I'm going, and that's where I've got to. So I encourage people to trust the process and trust themselves and their own abilities, um, and be willing and open to learn and just keep on learning. Absolutely keep on learning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the key, isn't it? As we evolve and as we
Mm.
change, there's so much more we need to learn. There's so much more we need to know.
Absolutely. So much more. It's never ending. The opportunity of learning new things in life and adapting new skill sets and capabilities and tools that you can apply within your own life, but you can also pay it forward to someone else, is an incredible experience. And I think a blessing in some ways if you have that skill set to offer somebody else to help them in their journey. Um, I encourage that strongly.
Yeah. And I think if you go back and watch Steph's first podcast, I think it might be episode 2 that we did, Steph, eh? People will probably even notice a difference in you, in your demeanor, in how you speak. Like there's so much more confidence that you've
Yes.
gained.
Absolutely, a lot more
Yeah.
confidence, and it's a the confidence is flowing a lot more easy, and it's kind of now a stronger foundation for me that I hold within myself. So I can carry myself around with that confidence and that knowledge and that skill set that I can quite comfortably approach and engage that with the next person. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Um, what do you think were your biggest challenges in starting your business? Personal challenges. So not so much challenges around, I don't know, having to set up a website or whatever it is you did, but personal challenges around you starting this business in hypnotherapy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. um, I guess my personal challenges just initially started with whether um, I could do it.
Hmm.
And but then I really stopped and paused and just took one day at a time,
Yep.
because I started to notice that as I'm planning it all in my head, all the different stages that I need to consider and what I need to do and set up, and I need this equipment, blah, blah, blah. I started to feel that a little bit overwhelmed with, I've got to do it all now.
Yep.
And I paused and I thought, this is a transitional phase that I'm starting to create something new. So it has its own stages that I need to be patient with. So I really took a step back and dealt with one item at a time. Once that was completed, I'll move on to the next. So, there was a list of things that I had to um, complete, but instead of dealing with just all of it now, I allowed myself and gave myself permission to span that across a few months.
Yep. Perfect. So how do you attract your new clients? How do they find you?
At the moment, it's been word of mouth. Yeah. So,
Yep.
I mean, I am set up on social media and a website. But at the moment, the word of mouth has been quite popular for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same way I started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's how it is when you're in a service-based business.
Yeah, the recommendation when you're having a discussion, people will at a social event, they have a discussion about what they've been up to, what they've had done. Then they think, oh, it's a great idea, maybe I should try something like that. And so that, yeah, happens that way.
Yeah. And for those listening, Steph is one of our advanced graduates who is out there doing this professionally. So if we get people coming to us saying they'd like to get some help with clinical hypnotherapy, then Steph's one of the ones that we refer people on to. So I'm stepping back a lot more from doing the personal sessions with people now because I've got some amazing advanced graduates around Australia who are willing to work with people in their own private businesses and are getting phenomenal results with people. So I'm focusing a lot more now on delivering the training and relying on amazing people like Steph to be able to help you guys out there that are wanting some help.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
It's
It's
exciting.
very
It's an exciting
exciting.
transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Knowing that you guys can do just as good as I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no
Absolutely.
difference. You've learned exactly the same skill set.
And some great students and peers that I've come across in the courses that I've done, different levels are incredible people.
Yep. And going back to talking about young people, Steph, because you've got a young person yourself,
Yeah.
um, are you looking to work with young people in the future a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Very much so. Very open to it, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
awesome because
encourage
there's a
it.
lot of young people out there needing this sort of help.
Yeah, and it can always just start off with just a chat over the phone. What's it about? What it involves? Um, and just explaining and educating the person through the stages and the process sometimes is enough for them to feel that comfort in trying it, just at least trying it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what advice would you give to a new hypnotherapist or a student just starting out? Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to them?
Really honing trusting yourself in the process.
Hmm.
Yeah, follow the process and trust it and your ability. Try and shut the mind when it comes to that self-doubt.
Yeah, love that coming from you.
Yes. Yeah, so shut that mind. It's not needed. Absolutely. It just gets in the way and you
Yep,
don't need it. So really honing on the skills you've attained, the process, and you will notice yourself how smoothly it will just evolve.
yep. And even along your journey, when you would contact me with things you didn't feel like you knew how to do,
Yeah.
my response to you was pretty much, you do know how to do it, just go and do it.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes,
exactly what you
yes,
did.
exactly. And sometimes, the clients that walk in, um, sometimes I think, should I tackle it this way? Getting that second opinion or consult with you, um, has helped with that confirming, yep, I was on the right track. Yep, keep going. Yep, shut up and just do it.
That's it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
haven't had to alter anything based on what I've said because you were already going down that track anyway.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But having your, affirmation or that I was on the right track really, really helped just settle that narrative in my head, that little bit of, oh, I don't know about this one, but that really, really helped.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
awesome. So what's next for your business, Steph, do you think?
I'm focusing now on some additional resources in marketing myself are out there. So I'm looking at different ways of how to do that. So yeah, that's been a focus at the moment for me.
Okay, perfect. Um, and we've already sort of given advice to, I suppose, new hypnotherapists just starting out or students just starting out. What advice would you give to people watching this now who don't necessarily want to be a hypnotherapist, but they want to make some sort of big change in their life and maybe they either don't know how to do it or they're just too frightened and too stuck to be able to do it. What advice would you give them?
My advice is to start small, small steps. Make that phone call or make that inquiry, have a conversation. It could be just a very general, generic conversation, really laid back, doesn't have to be formal. Gain all the information you need, ask all the silly questions you have in your head, express and externalize all of that self-talk that you've got in your own mind, in your own head. Let it all out. Explore that and unwrap it and try and navigate that with the next person rather than it being stuck in your own mind. Because sometimes we do get stuck and we only have that one tunnel vision of way of seeing and believing and approaching things. And I think that if you were to externalize all of that with the next person, you could gain a better insight. And, encouragement comes along with that too. That next person can really look at abilities that you have self-doubt on and you don't see yourself in that space, but the next person actually does.
Yeah.
So that actually all comes together really well.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else that you want to share?
Just be open-minded and give it a go.
Yeah.
And like you said, Tanya, what could go wrong?
That's it.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
No,
Absolutely
the worst
nothing.
that can happen when you hypnotize someone is absolutely nothing. You get no change.
Correct. And that's how gentle it is, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many times have you had nothing happen with a client so far?
Oh, yeah. No. I've had such good positive results.
Yeah.
Really positive results and good shifts. Like it's been incredible to watch.
Yeah. And so whether it's fellow students, whether it's your clients, you've always seen some sort of shift happen.
Absolutely. Yes. Surrounded by all that. Yeah, I love watching it.
Yep. So what do you think around, because like I said earlier, people fear this. They fear getting hypnotized. They fear clinical hypnotherapy. What's one thing that you could share with people to start to remove that fear so that if they've got issues going on in their life, they consider giving it a go?
Yeah, it's really not invasive process. It's really gentle and really at your own pace. So, the right person will work with you, um, and they will be along the journey with you, really, really gently. And they'll reassure you as you go along, and they'll take you to a space and a place that is really safe and comfortable and familiar so that throughout the process of hypnosis, you're feeling really safe and comfortable and you're not really focused on, oh my God, what's happening right now. You're in a zone where you're relaxed and you're feeling in an environment where you can really just let it all go. So I would encourage just to begin with, just, again, like just having that general chat to get better awareness, understanding more what it's about, and yeah, getting an understanding on the process, like what actually takes place, what are the steps involved, and what would I how would I feel throughout it? Like ask all those questions that you might, you know, that you've put in your own mind that you think are holding you back. So ask everything and gain that knowledge and gain a better understanding of also the person that you're working with.
Yep.
That's an important thing too, being comfortable with the person that you're working with as well. But having that exploration of consultation and in the process, I think really, really helps open that up.
Yep. Yep. And you're working out of Melbourne?
I am, yes.
Yep. So just share with people who are looking for help whereabouts you're working out of, whether you do online, whether you do in person, just so people can start to understand.
Yeah, so in person at the moment, I'm based around Caroline Springs in Melbourne. So I've got the surrounding suburbs of it being, in the Western region, would be more of the people and clients that have approached me at the moment.
Yep. And do you work with people online as well?
I've done more personal one-on-one face-to-face.
Yep.
They've been quite happy to come and have the face-to-face interaction because a lot of them also incorporate the Reiki that I apply as well.
Yep.
So that's all done in person, yeah. But, online, if that's a more convenient thing for them, then that's, something, whatever the client feels that they need at the time, that could all be worked around.
Yep. So you're open to either or.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Perfect. It's been amazing just being able to chat again and sort of catch up with you after sort of 9 months of where your journey first began.
It's been incredible, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been
I've enjoyed
absolutely
every bit.
amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
Just to see you grow and flourish and just trust yourself through the process. And now to see where you've ended up and hear about, because I hear firsthand of some of the clients that you're helping and the amazing work that you're doing out there with people.
Yeah, I know. It's I wouldn't have thought that this is where I'd be a couple of years back. So it's been a surprise for myself too, but I've enjoyed the entire journey as well as its challenges that I've had, with the development that I've had to do as well. I've enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that all just forms part of it.
it
You're,
does. It
you're
does.
growing new skills, but at the same time, you're growing yourself as a person as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Having to shed all the things that that I don't require anymore, that are of no purpose for me anymore, all that shed. So now I can step into a different light, a different platform, and apply all these skill set for the next person to help them.
Yeah, so cool. For everybody watching here, if you want to know more about hypnotherapy, I've got my TikTok channel. We'll put it in the link down below in the description. You're welcome to go and follow me on TikTok. We put up plenty of videos of our students doing different things. I'm talking about different things, and you can just Google stalk us, really. We're putting videos up all the time. So if you want to know anything more, just do that, just Google stalk. And we'll put Steph's details in the description as well, so that if you're wanting to contact Steph directly to have a chat with her and potentially get some help, you're welcome to do that as well. So I want to just thank you again, Steph, for agreeing to jump on and share your journey.
Thanks, Tanya, for the opportunity. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
cool. And I'm sure we'll look to catch up in another, I don't know, 6 months to a year and just see how you've developed even more.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Can't wait for the next stage.
Perfect. Thanks, Steph. See
Thank
you
you,
later.
Tanya.